He's done very well in practice. And you'd like to think with the experience that he had at Minnesota that the game lights won't affect him at all. But there have been a lot of practices where he's been our best guard in the last year, so I sure hope that he can carry that over.
What is his game like?
Well, he's a combo guard. He can play both as a scorer, and he's played some point for us. He's got good ball skills. He moves the ball well. His basketball instincts are really good defensively. He gets a lot of hands on balls. So, I don't want to put too much pressure on him. And, there's going to be an adjustment period and a little transition because he hasn't played for a while. But, again, he's done awfully well in practice, and there's nothing that leads me to believe that that won't carry over to the game floor.
And a nice way to lean into it too with the next 2 weeks at home.
Yeah, we need some home games. We need to get a lot of things ironed out before we open up at Washington State on the 29th. This team has a lot of things to work on, and so we need to get home here. Our tests are all done tomorrow, and our guys can get focused here for the next 3 weeks on trying to get better as a basketball team. So we've got a tremendous amount of work to do this period from December 10th through, we open up on the 29th. It's going to be a critical stretch for our team.
Specifically, what are you working on?
Well, I think the first area is our rebounding stats. We're even on the boards, and I really thought that this team, could be a +5, +6 rebounding team. And so I think the first thing I'm disappointed in is we just haven't been a good rebounding team. And in games against Vanderbilt and BYU that are 2 losses, we got beat up on that offensive glass. And in both games, they had 10 extra points on the offensive glass. So we didn't defensive rebound like we should have, and we didn't get any offensive rebounds. And that 10-point gap was probably the difference in both those games. And so I think rebounding is our first area of concern. Defensively, at times we've played awfully well defensively, and our defensive field goal pursuit, against us is not that bad. And then offense just takes a little bit longer, So there's not any one phase of the game that we're pleased with where we're at, but the rebounding is the most critical to make the biggest jump, I think, right away.
The rebounding, is that positioning? Is that effort?
A combination of both. I think guys are unsure of when some of our shots are taking place, and that's why our offensive rebounding numbers haven't been good. Defensively, we haven't put a body on guys. We haven't been physical enough, and our physicality has to change on the defensive board. So it's a combination of the two.
Devoe, do you have a set number of minutes in mind for him?
Oh, no, he's in great shape. We'll just see how the game goes. Right now, some of our new guys are having a little bit of a trouble, getting adjusted. Our vets are carrying us a little bit more. Johnny at the point, and Garrett and EJ at the wings. Tyrone's been a little up and down, but I thought JJ's given us some good minutes, especially coming off of 2 injuries. So our vets have been pretty good. It's our new guys who are having a little bit of adjustment problems, and I'm hoping those don't affect Devoe quite as much because he's been here longer. He spent all last spring practicing with us, winter and spring, and so he's not, as new as some of our other guys. So I think that adjustment might be a little quicker for him.
Will you start him right away, or?
Oh, I don't know about that. We'll just see how it goes. Our starting lineup's kind of been a work in progress. I think we've used different lineups almost all the games, so I don't think. I've thought too much about that, but at some point in time, he'll definitely challenge for one of those spots, no doubt.
Devoe talked about how it was to practice for a year and not be able to play in the game. As a coach, to have a guy practicing for a year and not be able to put him in the game, what was that like for you?
Well, at times frustrating because I mentioned how well he played, but he really added a lot to our practices last January and February, and when we were working against other teams, getting ready for games, he was always the leading scorer from the other team, and so he always gave us a pretty good look. And so I thought he really helped our practices a year ago, and I know it's been frustrating for him to wait this long, but he's ready to go now, and I think he can add a lot to our ball team.
You spoke about moving on from Jabari and Bruce when they left. How has that process been in moving on? How have the guys,
I think the guys have reacted great. I think they've been, looking forward we've got the 10 guys on scholarship that we're using right now with Devoe and Austin's redshirted. Chris is redshirted and Nick's ready to go. So we've got our team in place. And the only thing is we just are, injury can hurt us a little bit now, where I thought our depth with those guys was a little better. But other than that, I think we're ready to go.
Did they go through finals as far as you know? And
As far as I know, yeah.
should transfer in good standing.
Yeah, I know Jabari's in great shape, and but I haven't seen Bruce, and so I don't know. But I think everything's fine.
With the finals being done and no classes, just focusing on basketball, how big of a jump are you expecting these guys to make over the next few weeks?
Well, that's going to be critical to us having a good year. I mentioned all the areas that we need to improve in, and so I think this next 2-3 week period, when we can spend a little bit more time, I mentioned the 6 home games now in a row to try to get some things in place and the game conditions, I hope will help us. So it's a very important stretch for our basketball team. And if you look at even the start of the conference season, which is, Washington's a good team, and then we've got Cal and Stanford on the road, here. 2 good teams, and then we go to UCLA and USC, or Arizona and Arizona State, and then UCLA and USC at home. So I mean, we've got a number of tough games to start the conference season, and starting out Washington State. Washington's always a tough road swing, and so we've got a lot of work for us, here in the next 2-3 weeks, getting ready for a tough conference stretch.